Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
CNN's Sally Kohn just gave stupid reason libs should blame Trump for Harvey Weinstein. Republican President Donald Trump has become a boogeyman to many liberal Americans. No matter what goes wrong in our country or in the world, they just blame it on Trump. This perhaps reached a new low recently when divisive CNN host Sally Kohn wrote a column on CNN's website where she tackled all the sexual assault and rape accusations that have been piling up against movie mogul Harvey Weinstein, who was a friend of the Clintons and one of their biggest fundraisers. Instead of actually admitting that powerful entertainment industry player Weinstein was responsible for all the assaults on women he committed, Kohn absurdly asked instead, but should Weinstein in part blame Donald Trump for whipping up Hollywood against sexual assault in the first place? She continued, beginning with the largest march of women and their allies the day after Trump was inaugurated, we reached some critical mass in America and around the world of just refusing to stay silent and, together, more and more women are speaking out. And at the same time, for Hollywood in particular, the challenge of Weinstein was interesting timing. Kohn again used Trump as a scapegoat and punching bag later, writing, just like Donald Trump is responsible, in some way, for having gotten us all to surface and scrutinize these issues in new ways. And hopefully that means Hollywood, and all of us, will change for the better. Do you think it's laughable that these liberals won't stop blaming conservative Trump for their own problems? Moron Pelosi just claimed there's no culture war in America and Democrats are unified. Democratic House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is so mentally enfeebled and out of touch with the needs of regular Americans that many Democrats have been clamoring for her to finally step down and give somebody else a chance. On ABC's daytime talk show The View, however, the Liberals hosts there treat her as though she was still at the top of the game, giving her softball questions. Surprisingly, Liberal co-host Paula Ferris actually called her out for attacking anyone who disagrees with her liberal views, telling her, "I think that's where a lot of people are frustrated. We're engaged in this ongoing cultural wars. Here we are talking about he said she said, we know after a fallen soldier died. We know that ISIS this week it's usurping other big stories like ISIS is no hanging by a thread. We're not talking about really important stories." She continued, "At the end of the day, I think the frustration, you guys have such an opportunity as the Democratic Party, but there's frustration because if you oppose the Democratic Party, you're labeled immediately as a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, a xenophobe, and it really shuts down conversation. So as leader of the party, how do you open up that conversation, Nancy, without the name calling?" Instead of taking this obvious frustration seriously, Pelosi gave a response that shows how she is living in an alternate reality. Answered Nancy, "Well, I don't really subscribe to the fact that there's a cultural war going on in our country. There are divisions. There are disagreements and the rest. I think there's plenty of opportunity to bring people together. One of the places, I thank all of you for what you do. One of the places are the arts. The arts are a place where people come together. If it's music, if it's drama, whatever it is, they laugh. They cry. They have empathy for each other. They forget differences." She went on, "If you're talking about culture, take it to a place that says this is who we are as a people, and while we have our political differences, what we should be talking about is, what are their policies and what does it mean in the lives of the American people? I would like to take it to that place. Frankly, the place where the Republicans are going now with their budget is a very bad place for our country. Do you think clueless Pelosi needs to go away?" Joy Reid calls General Kelly a white supremacist for saying Frederica Wilson is an empty barrel. John Kelly defended the president in a passionate speech against Democratic Representative Frederica Wilson. He said that she was an empty barrel and that empty barrels make the loudest sounds. In other words, stupid people are often the loudest. However, Wilson claimed that the attack on her was racist. That's a racist term, too. I'm thinking about that one. We looked it up in the dictionary because I had never heard of an empty barrel. And I don't like to be dragged into something like that. The only thing I want to be dragged into right now is getting back our girls who are the victims of Boko Haram in Nigeria, said Wilson. The media has also taken advantage of the fact that a white man has criticized a black woman. According to them, this could only happen as a result of white supremacy. Just hear the ridiculous and over-the-top things CNN's Joy Reid has to say. She started by commenting on Lawrence O'Donnell's speech against the Kelly. Wow. At Lawrence scorched General Kelly tonight, including calling out his segregated Boston upbringing and dehumanization of a black woman, tweeted Reid. Wow wow wow. At Lawrence noted that General Kelly didn't even give that Rep Wilson the dignity of using her name. Kelly grew up in segregated Boston, in an Irish Catholic neighborhood where women were bullied, not honored, and blacks scorned and rejected, wrote Reid. Disgusting. Jenna Jameson attacks Playboy for displaying transgender model on magazine cover. Just weeks after Hugh Hefner's death, Playboy put the very first transgender model on the cover. Born with male genitalia, the model explained she was happy to be who she is. Former Playboy model Jenna Jameson attacked Playboy for the move. And surely, many Playboy fans are not happy about it. I lived a long time without saying I was transgender. Then I was like, you should just be who you are. It's a salvation to speak the truth about yourself, whether it's your gender, sexuality, whatever, said transgender model Ines Rao. I'm an advocate for anyone who is scared to be who they really are because they fear being judged or rejected. They should be empowered by their differences and not be who society tells them to be, said Rao. Jenna Jameson slammed this on Twitter. So at Playboy just announced it will be featuring its first transgender playmate. I have a problem with it just like I have a problem with a transgender competing against biological women in sports, she wrote. She then attacked the haters. Just because I don't agree with a trans person being in Playboy doesn't mean I'm transphobic. People these days with all their phobics, she wrote. This has nothing to do with looks. My opinion has to do with business. I think this decision alienates its client base, wrote Jameson. Do you think she's right? Radio host Delilah just got deeply tragic news. It's so sad, will you pray for her? Iconic nationally syndicated radio host Delilah Renee has been brightening the lives of Americans with her comforting voice and words for years. Tragically, it appears that Delilah right now is the one who is in great need of comfort. Through her Facebook account, Delilah announced this month that her son Zachariah had committed suicide. In the background of her Facebook page, Delilah posted the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number, 1-800-273-8255. Wrote Renee about her late son, he was being treated, counseled, and embraced fiercely by family and friends while battling depression for some time now. My heart is broken beyond repair and I cannot fathom how to go on. But I have to believe he is at peace with the Lord and that God will get us through. The beloved radio host continued, I will be absent from the radio and on social media for a time as I grieve and try to process this loss with my family. In the meantime, we'll be playing some of my favorite shows from the recent past. I'll look forward to my return, as you all lift me up so very much. Delilah concluded her sad post by saying, please pray for my beloved Zachy, and I will pray for all suffering from this debilitating disease called depression. Will you pray for Delilah Renee and her family during this very difficult time? Rush Limbaugh crushes George Bush for his vile speech against Trumpism. George W. Bush joined the liberal hate train in an awful speech against President Trump. We've seen nationalism distorted into nativism, forgotten the dynamism that immigration has always brought to America. We see a fading confidence in the value of free markets and international trade, forgetting that conflict, instability, and poverty follow in the wake of protectionism, said Bush. The New York Times celebrated. Without saying Trump, Bush and Obama deliver implicit rebukes, they wrote. Rush Limbaugh was furious. George W. Bush did not say much of anything for the 8 years of the regime of Barack Hussein. No. He didn't write a letter. He often said, "Hey, I had my 8 years. I'm not gonna comment on my successor. It's not the way we former presidents do things," explained Limbaugh. Well, okay, the dynamism that immigration has brought to America. I have a stat. I saw this the other day. It's one of these things I knew but I didn't know. I said, yeah. It shocked me, but then when I stopped and thought about it, it had to be true. The U.S. immigrant population has hit a record 43.7 million in 2016. 1 out of 5.5, 1 out of 5.5, Americans is an immigrant, legal and illegal combined. 1 out of 5. That's not dynamism. That is an invasion that has been ignored and you might even say covered up. It is a trend that a majority of Americans oppose and that's why Donald Trump was elected, explained Limbaugh. I don't know. What is this, the George W. Bush version of Hillary's deplorables? Asked Limbaugh. Do you think he's right?